What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for October 4th, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. What a game. What a night. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you. We went over 2,000 streams on Spotify yesterday. Slowly growing this thing. So I do appreciate it. Be sure to spread the word, like, and subscribe. That definitely helps. And why not celebrate? The Phillies win. We went over 2,000 streams. Go to Philly Goat. Use that promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. They just keep pumping out shirts. There was a Jesus Bryce shirt out there yesterday. Don't want to offend any of my religious people out there, but it's actually a pretty sweet shirt. So go check it out, phillygoat.com, along with the Fan to the Bone shirt. It's just Halloween, Red October. Just go check them out. Help us celebrate our 2,000th stream on Spotify. Go to phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery, and I thank you. While you're at it, listen to the new Back to the Future from last week. Well, I guess it's not new, but Back to the Future from last week where we talked about the Wall of Fame and Scott Rowland. That's Back to the Future with a PH wherever you get your podcast. All right, now to this game. And 4-1, and Wheeler was just dominant. Bryce was locked in. I feel like there was, on Castellanos' double, there was just no stopping him. He was going to score. They're just, this team, I just don't know what it is. There's a vibe about this team, and I really think that it was very business-like. It's almost like they're going out there and like they were very methodical. Yes, they were having fun and doing what they want, but it's almost like it felt so much different than last year. It just feels like they have a focus and they're on a mission. I fully expect them to just close it out tonight. I think we're going to see playoff Nola. And even if it does struggle a little bit, the way these guys are going to pick him up and get runs. And I expect the crowd to be even more electric, believe it or not, tonight than it was last night. But, man, this team is fun. And they, like I said, they seem locked in and they're on a mission. They want to play the Braves. They want to get back to the World Series. And, right now, I don't think there's anybody playing as well as them in all of baseball. So, good 4-1 win. Alvarado looked, for the most part, pretty good. Kimbrel gave up a hit, but again, he looked good. So, it seems like they're getting pumped. They're ready. And I look for them to close it out tonight. So, back at it tonight. Hopefully, they wear the powder blues, too. All right, Sixers news. No James Harden, as we expected. Likely, possibly today he's going to join. They said he is expected to be at camp at some point. But honestly, get your popcorn ready. I'm anxious to see how this is going to go. Maybe he just comes in and does an un-James Harden-like thing and just plays. But I don't know. But we should have some fun with this tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow we're celebrating the Phils moving on and have an update on James Harden. Flyers have one more preseason game tomorrow night before they open up, but they made some roster moves. They're almost there. They have their rosters down to 29. I believe in the NHL it's 23 or 25. So they're close to what their final roster is. And again, it seems like all the reports I'm seeing is like this team is the young guys are really stepping up and playing well. So it's going to be fun to see them gain some experience this year. Eagles update. They signed Bradley Roby, cornerback, who's a veteran, played for the Saints, a couple other teams too. I forget. I believe he played for Denver. I think he actually won a Super. I don't know if he was old enough to win it. So either way, older vet can play in the slot, which hopefully once he gets back into playing shape, he was cut in preseason, so it's going to take him a little bit to get back in shape, but he can play the slot, which will allow Bradbury to move to the outside and hopefully address some of the issues that they're having out there. I think this is another one of those Howie no risk, high reward things that the Eagles have done over recent years. I don't think he's going to be completely done wheeling and dealing. I think there's going to be more moves coming up as we go to the trade deadline. I mean, Penny has not really played at all this year, so maybe you can use him as a trade chip. They got plenty of draft capital, but I think there is still a bigger trade coming along the horizon. I can't put my finger on who or what yet, but knowing Howie, something is coming. And finally, before we wrap up with the Eagles, I have to point out that with all the talk being recently about the tush push, and should it be banned, should it be this, the Giants tried to run it the other night, unsuccessfully, but also suffered 2 injuries. And I don't want to laugh at someone being injured because that's not what I'm about and what I want to do. But I feel like there's just so much to unpack there. And like, if that's not like the most Giants thing ever with this team currently as they are, I don't know what is. So better luck next time. And hopefully that just kind of dispels what everybody's been saying, that it's an illegal play. No, like there's some skill involved, and everybody forgets how good the Eagles' defensive or offensive line is, and your quarterback can squat 600 pounds. But speedy recovery to the 2 Giants who got hurt doing the tush push last week. Okay. Speaking of Eagles, be sure to check out my buddies over at the Clashing Conferences podcast. New episodes should be dropping tomorrow. Should be an interesting one again with the way the Giants played. I'm sure Randy's going to have a lot to say about the Cowboys, and then the Eagles beating Washington should be an interesting episode. And really, we're getting close to coming to the quarter pole of the season, and they're really hitting their stride with the trash talk. So go check out the Clashing Conferences podcast wherever you get your podcast, as well as on YouTube. Sticking back to the Phils, though, and we're just going to keep with the Phils theme. Going back to 1980, and on October 4th, 1980, the Phillies beat the Expos 6-4 in 11 innings. They scored 1 run in the 9th to force extra innings. Pete Rose went 3 for 5. Bake McBride went 3 for 5. Schmitty went 3 for 5 with a homer and a double. Luzinski went 2 for 4. They pounded out 17 hits in total. However, they also committed 5 errors, which was pretty kind of typical of the way they played that year. It was just sort of, they were just going out there and just playing, and errors, pounding out hits, home runs, whatever. However, this game was important because it did clinch them the NL East with 1 game left to play. It was their 6th win in a row. It was their 4th division title in 5 years. And basically, that's how they were that year. They were the Cardiac Kids. If you follow them even into the playoffs then, against Houston, against Kansas City, they were just, I know, just talking with people, family members, friends who remember that 80 team, they just said they gave you a heart attack every time they played, but they did end up winning. But on this day, back in 1980, the Phils beat the Expos to win the NL East for the 4th time in 5 years. They would go on to win the World Series. Hopefully, we will have a repeat of that within a few short weeks. All right, sticking now with our October push to the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony in November. Today we're going to shift gears. We've done 3 of the inductees over the past 3 days, but today I want to focus on one of the 20 for 20s they're doing. Again, if you want more information on the Hall of Fame itself and how you can help, go to phillyhall.org. Or if you want information on this class, as well as more information on the 20 for 20 and ticket information, go to philadelphiasportshalloffame.org. But today we're going to look at one of the 20 for 20s, and it's the Philly Olympic heroes. And honestly, like looking at this list and just the accomplishments, I never really kind of registered Philly as like a hotbed for like Olympic sports. Obviously, we're big in the 4x4 sports with the Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, and Phillies, but just the magnitude that this area has and the magnitude of the athletes that this area has that went on to have extreme Olympic success. Obviously, we know about rowing. Rowing's big on the Schuylkill, the Boathouse Row, and all the regattas and everything. But with swimming and track and field, there's just a lot of history and just legends, really. Other than track and field, swimming and rowing, there's basketball players who played in the Olympics, boxers who box, as well as divers. So listen to these stats, and this is what really just kind of drove it home for me. And I guess this goes back all the way to like the early 1890 Olympics, like the modern Olympics they call it. But people in the Philadelphia Hall of Fame have 42 gold medals, 9 silver, 2 bronze. They have set 71 world records, won 93 national championships, and that's not even including like a Dawn Staley winning in college and things like that. 15 world championships. They have 1 heavyweight champion of the world, 1 welterweight champion of the world, and a rower who won 126 consecutive races. Think about that. So, I mean, here are the guys like Carl Lewis, Bruce Harlan, Dawn Staley, Carl Roby, Charles Jenkins, David Burkhoff, Don Bragg, Elizabeth Becker, Ellie Daniel, Herman Fraser, Irene Guess, who we talked about back in March for Women's History Month, Joe Frazier, who we just talked about the other day, Joe Verdure, John B. Kelly, who named Kelly Drive after him. Like, he's the guy that's won 126 races in a row. I believe there's a statue of him down there, one of the best to ever do it. Leroy Burrell, who I never knew was from the Philly area. Mel Shepherd, Meldrick Taylor, Paul Costello, Susan Francia, and Ted Meredith. And, I mean, that's like a who's who. And, like, some of these names we know just from some of the stuff we've done on this podcast. Like, again, Kelly Drive is named after John B. Kelly. But, like, Joe Frazier, like, it's just insane. Like, the sheer magnitude of the greatness that's just here. And again, like, that's part of what we're trying to do this month is just bring awareness to, like, just how amazing and awesome, like, the athletes in this area are, and really bring some attention to some of those, I like to call them the non-mainstream sports, like a diving, like the track and fields, swimming, rowing, and things like that. And honestly, these numbers for the Olympic heroes, like those gold medals with this year's class, all of that's going to just continue to increase. And that's just the people that are in the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. That's not including the people that either aren't inducted or will be inducted. So it's just an amazing, rich legacy and history of just athleticism here in Philadelphia when it comes to the Olympics. So, like I said, be sure to check out the phillyhall.org. Go there to check out all the information you need about the Hall of Fame. It will give you the list of the inductees, how you can volunteer. And again, I keep saying about volunteering, but not just like donations and working booths or anything like that. Like, if you have a specific niche or a specific skill that you're good at, likely you can help them out. So go check that out. And for information on this year's induction class and how to get tickets, PhiladelphiaSportsHallOfFame.org. But, I mean, just the 20 for 20 for the Olympics, I felt that was a good way to start, because a lot of these names probably are not household names, but they deserve to be recognized. So if nothing else, if you know any of the people I listed or named, tell them thank you. Tell their family thank you if they're no longer here. But this is just, like I said, an incredible list. And Philly sports runs much deeper than just the Big Four. On this day, back in 1980, the Phillies beat the Expos 6-4 in 11 innings to win the National League East for the 4th time in 5 years. We all know how that season ended. And again, I'm not willing to bet it yet, but the way that team was focused last night and just the business-like attitude, would not be surprised if we're celebrating down Broad Street one more time in a few weeks. Anxious to see what happens when James reports today. Is he going to come in fat suit James? Is he going to come in with the signs that says Daryl Morey is a liar? Or is he going to be a model player and just put his head down and wait to be traded? We will see. Condolences to the 2 Giants players who got hurt trying to do the tush push. I don't know what to say. It's not funny that they got hurt, but it's kind of funny that they got hurt trying to run the play. And again, I'm not laughing at their injuries. I'm laughing at the circumstances of how they got injured. There's a difference. All right, Phils look to close it out. I think it's a rout tonight. I think they're going to come out and just end it early and just be Be ready. Waiting for the Braves this weekend. Let's do it. Thank you again for 2,000 streams on Spotify. Let's continue to grow this thing. Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, family members, whoever. Like and subscribe. All of that little bit helps. Leave comments. Get us in the rotation. Help with the algorithm. The more interaction we have, the better. Go to phillygoat.com. Celebrate the Phillies win. 2,000 streams. James Harden coming to camp. Whatever you want to celebrate, go check them out and use that promo code Jim Montgomery. One more beautiful day before the cold fall weather comes in, which I, for one, am kind of looking forward to at this point. But go, seize the day. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Wednesday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.